Shelby Sapp's Women in Wealth Conference in Fort Lauderdale. That in my last couple of weeks, like that was the first conference that I went to. Shelby Sapp had a Women in Wealth Conference. 3,000 women from all over the country flew in for this conference. It was amazing. Like what Shelby Sapp did just with the staging of the environment of this conference was just amazing. She's 25 and a sales gal, and there were all these young sales gals there. And a lot of them are Instagrammers, and they're all doing their little things and doing their little interviews and everything. And it was so cool to see so much energy in that room, and to see that many women, especially young women, like in their 20s and 30s, wanting to learn more about making money and preserving money, and growing money. That was so encouraging to see. It was just such a good energy room.
So I come across her content a lot. She's married or recently engaged or recently married to a guy named Alex Eubank. He's somebody that I've watched a lot of his content. He's kind of like a fitness, also kind of entrepreneur type content. And I actually appreciate both of them. I do think they're like a power couple and they do really well online. You just sat through the conference, the Women in Wealth. What did Shelby Sapp put on that screen that resonated with you?
Yeah, the first thing she said was the thing that I took away from it, and that is that your first sale is yourself. And that just was so meaningful to me, because I think that we forget that we have to believe in ourselves. And it's real easy to say that, but it's real hard to do. And so she, to me, kind of made it sticky when she's up there talking about selling your goods or services, your product or whatever to other people. But she's saying your first sale is to yourself. And she's not saying sell your product to yourself. She's saying you have to sell yourself on yourself before you walk into a room to sell somebody on whatever your product is.
What do you think people struggle with selling themselves, and why is that?
I think, we were in a room of women, and so she was specifically talking to women, and I think women have trouble believing in themselves that much to sell themselves and walking into a room with confidence like that. I don't know about men. I've never been a man, never going to be a man. I don't know about the male experience in that way, but I know that for women, I think it is very common that almost all of us have some amount of imposter syndrome. The statistics show that men tend to apply for the new job or go for something before they know everything about it, where the statistics show that women don't apply for the job or don't go for the new something until they know everything about it, And so that's the imposter syndrome, in effect, right? Is men have this confidence, whether it's societal or innate or whatever. Men have a confidence that they're well, I'll go get it and then I'll figure it out. And women don't tend to have that. We think we have to know it all before we go do it. And what Shelby is saying is you don't need to know all of that. You've got to, have confidence in yourself and be able to figure it out. And that was just such a powerful moment for me, because I think it doesn't matter whether you're 25 or 45, I think you just always have, as a woman, I'm saying I think we always have to remind ourselves of that.
No, I love that. Michelle, can you tell me about a time that you sold yourself on a future before you had any shred of evidence?
Oh, I think I'm always doing that.
Yeah, you got a lot of
I think that's been all my life,
Yep.
Because I went out on my own in my own solo practice right out of law school, because the economy was so bad whenever I graduated from law school in the early 90s that there weren't any jobs. People that I graduated law school with were taking jobs as paralegals because there weren't any lawyer jobs because the economy was terrible. And I was well, I'm not going to do that, so I'm going to go sign up for some court-appointed work, So I did court-appointed work for a couple of years, where I was representing criminal defendants and juvenile defendants that the court would pay me to defend. And it wasn't my ideal scenario, but you know what? I got paid and I was doing lawyer work and I was in the courtroom and I didn't know how to do it. So I had to convince myself that I had the ability and the confidence to do it before I actually knew how to do it. And then it's like, okay, well now I got this court appointment. Now what do you do? So there was a paralegal in town that worked for a very experienced criminal lawyer. Her name was Tudor Porter, and she took pity on me on one of my very first criminal cases and showed me how to go to the jail, how to go visit a client in the jail, how to go talk to the prosecutors, like how to negotiate a plea deal. You know, so she helped me figure out how to do my job as a young lawyer because she was this very old, experienced paralegal that knew how to do my job for me. She just didn't have the letters behind her name to be able to do it. So, you know, so I was able to go figure it out because somebody helped show me the way. And, you know, and then after that, I kind of knew how, and I also had a resource to go ask questions when I needed to.
What was that experience like, first time that you went into a jail?
I mean, I'd never been in a jail before, and I was a good little Baptist girl, so, you know, we tried really hard not to go to jail. Yeah, no, it was definitely a different experience. You know, but my parents raised me to believe that, you know, we all are human and we all have humanity, and, you know, and that you have something to learn from everybody. So it wasn't an experience that was necessarily scary or yucky for me. I mean, it wasn't something I'd ever experienced before, but I was lucky to practice in a county where the jail was relatively new and clean and sanitary and air conditioned. So it wasn't as bad as some of the jails I've since been in and some of the prisons. Like I've been to prisons now, and I've been to some maximum security prisons inside of them, not because I was inside of them, but as a lawyer. And those are all, I mean, those are very powerful experiences. And there's a lot of humanity, a lot of raw humanity that exists in those environments. That as a female I've encountered, especially representing male clients, a lot of raw humanity. So I mean, there's a lot of experience there, but you know, I was 23 when I graduated from law school. So when I'm going to the jail for the first time to meet a client, like I was 23, 24 years old, you know, with very little life experience. So it was an eye-opening experience.
I'm sure. Shelby had an objection table up with price, timing, trust, and fear. You watched that as a lawyer. What did you see in that segment? You
know, I really enjoyed the way she framed it all up, that she has this ability to make those topics very sticky to you as a person. Instead of it being like price is an objection, like she makes it real, you know, in how you approach the topic, and she reframes everything so interesting. She just really has an innate ability to be very, very relatable.
One of her reframes was fear shows that you care. Is that real insight, or is that a sales trick?
No, I love that. I think when you are afraid of something, like you have to care about it to be afraid. It's like the opposite ends of a magnet, right? So that is a concern or a care. Like if you didn't care about something, you don't have anything to be afraid of, or you don't have anything to be insecure about, you know, so that does show you care. And that's a way to reframe it in your own mind. Like if you're nervous about giving a public speech, well, that just shows you care because you want to do a good job, but that also makes you able to reframe it in your own mind. Like identify that you're nervous because you're going to go up in front of these people and give a good speech, and you want to look good and feel good and do a good job and deliver a good presentation, you know. So then once you identify that, you can say, okay, well, what I really need to do is more preparation, because preparation is the solution for feeling insecure about my delivery. You know, and you can solve for that in that fear or that insecurity.
Yeah, that resonates with me as well. I'm going to push a little bit, play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Isn't the whole sell yourself first just almost like a manifestation type of thing, just with like a sales deck? Isn't it the same as that whole like manifesting things? Is there a difference?
I didn't see it as manifesting the way she presented it. I feel like, you do have to have confidence in yourself. Now, there's a difference between, a reality of confidence and a fairy tale of confidence. Like, you can't sell yourself a fairy tale. I mean, I am never gonna be a 5'8" blonde Barbie doll. Like, I'm never gonna be Shelby Sapp. Like, I can never go back and be 25 and cute and blonde and have a pink G-Wagon. So if I'm gonna try to sell myself some confidence, like, it's not gonna be a 25-year-old blonde bombshell like Shelby Sapp. Like, I have to sell myself on my own confidence, right? And my own version of myself. So you have to have a reality check built into that, or you're right, it is manifestation. It's just bullshit otherwise. Like, you're just selling yourself on a lie if you are making some stuff up. But so there is some amount of self-assessment and realism that has to go into that. But I think you also can't sell yourself short. You have to give yourself some credit. And, maybe today you're not the world's greatest whatever you want to be, but you have the ability to do it and you have the ability to figure it out. And knowing that you have the ability to do it and the ability to figure it out, and all you lack is reps, all you lack is the time in the trenches. My husband calls that tits. Like, you lack the tits, right?
I like this. Okay, explain what tits mean.
Yeah, you lack the tits, time in the trenches, right? So you lack the tits to have done it a bunch of times. I mean, Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar call that the 10,000 hours, right? I mean, there's all different ways of saying it, but to me, it's like you lack the tits of it, right? The time in the trenches. And if you just had some reps, you're gonna be good at it. Like, you have the ability, you have the what it takes, you just don't have the experience.
Yeah.
So once you get your time in the trenches, like, there you are, you're good at it.
You gotta just get the tits down. Once you get the tits, time in the trenches.
That's
I love that. That's so funny. Okay, so a woman watching has been telling herself the same story about herself for 20 years. How does that change what she is actually selling herself? Like, how does she change what she's actually selling herself starting tonight?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the way that I do that is when I'm reframing or when I'm wanting to level up, is that I kind of do this little assessment of, like, what am I good at?
Yes.
And what do I like to do? And this comes from the book Traction. I love the book Traction. It applies in so many different dynamics, right? It can apply like from a job perspective, it can apply from a starting a business perspective, it can apply to a life perspective. Like, what am I good at and I like to do? What am I good at but I don't like to do? What am I not good at and I like to do it anyway? Or what am I not good at and I don't like to do it and I'm never gonna do it? And then, whenever you identify, like, here's what I like to do and I'm good at, then those are the things you ought to be doing. Like, I may like to do the laundry, but I'm terrible at doing the laundry. Like, I will get whites and reds all mixed up and then I'll end up with a pink shirt, and like, I'm terrible at laundry. I dry it too fast or whatever. So somebody else really needs to do the laundry, even if I like doing that task. But, then there's other things I'm good at that I just don't like doing. So I'm not gonna do it. I don't need to be doing that thing because I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. So if you identify what you're good at and what you like to do, those are the things you should be focused on and maximizing for yourself and your future.
I love that. So let's land this here for this segment. So what does your future self actually do for you?
I think that living from your future self, my version is your past is gone. Like, the past has already happened. There's nothing you can do about that. The present that we live in right now is already the past. Like, by the time you're living in the present, it's past. So there's not much you can do to control that. Like, it's already happened. So the only thing that you can control is your future. So if you're trying to envision a future self, there's a difference between living from the future and goals. Goals are, today I sit here in the present and I'm aiming for something in the future, Where living from the future is saying, in 5 years, I want to be in this place doing this thing, and you imagine it in Technicolor, and then you reverse engineer that shit and you say like, okay, to be that in 5 years, here's what I need to be doing today, and here's what I need to do tomorrow, and here's what I need to become. Here's the set of skills I have to gather. Here's the people I need to gather, like the rooms I need to be in that place in 5 years. So it's really a complete reversal of goal setting.